a lot. So you'll want a lot of real estate to write on. Okay, so like a notepad, a journal, something like that. It's best done writing versus typing. It's more like visceral, hands-on, and like just that experience is so much better than typing it in a computer where it will likely get lost in a file, and it's just easier to access if you have, you know, something to write with. So real quick, has anybody done any sort of like goal setting, show of hands, vision board, journaling, anything like that? Okay, we have some spirit fingers going on. There's a chat box, so you can always pop in there and let us know too if your screen is off. But I like to just see, you know, sort of get a feel of the room, and see where we're at today. So this is a goal setting workshop that I've gone through a few times, and it's inspired by my business coaches. They run us through it usually every year, and then we revisit it quarterly. But this would be super duper fun to do with you guys, so we'll dive into that in just a second. But I also wanted to real quick ask by show of hands who trains with us at the studio, so you can kind of get an idea. I'm sure some of you maybe have seen each other, some of you come at different hours. Okay, great. Love that. Few participants raise their hands. Love it. Everyone is rolling in. Okay, so let me also introduce real quick. Coach Glitter, raise your hand. Hi, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hi.
Okay, so this is Coach Glitter. She is on Team Venus. She's also frequent on the podcast with me. And then we also have Coach Alicia. Say hello. So she's also a coach at Venus, ditch deprivation coach, and also happens to be my daughter, coincidentally enough. And who here is Team Glitter? So you are coached by Glitter in terms of like ditch deprivation, contest prep. Sweet. Okay. Team Alicia. Do we have any Team Alicia folks on here? Okay, we have a handful here. And who's Coach Boss? Who is Team Boss Bitch? Who are my peeps? Okay, hi everybody. And then we have, you know, our lovely Venus people. So awesome. Thank you for participating in that. All right, we are going to dive in. So hopefully you have your journal ready, pen, whatever you're going to write with, and we're going to dive in. I'm going to share my screen. I put together a little bit of a present like PowerPoint, so you had all of the questions available to actually see, and you don't have to go between like the chat box. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start by here. All right, so it's January. We love January because this is when we get like a reset button for our goals and get excited about new shit. I'm always like, it's just another month, but for some reason it signifies like a new beginning to a new year, and a lot of us get really excited. So with that, I always plug this in here. You know, I think it was important to just put this in here, not for like braggadocious reasons for like myself and my two coaches here that are with me today, but these were some goals that we had to set. And this was something that was put in motion by, you know, pen to paper and actually, you know, putting the wheels in motion to achieve these goals. So one thing for me was eventually becoming an IFBB pro, which is like, you know, like the highest tier in terms of bodybuilding, right? An accomplishment a lot of people aspire to when they start competing. So that was a lot of years of writing things down, journaling, and every time I went in to do a show, I would journal about what I wanted to project. So when I got my pro card, I did put that in one of my journals earlier in the year, and I had forecasted that and like put it into motion. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I was just putting it out into the universe and doing the things that pros would do. That was my thing. I got to act like a pro if I want to become a pro. And then when I achieved my pro card status and I did my first pro show, I actually had my journal entries where I said I wanted to place top 5 in my first pro show. And when I journaled it, I was very much visceral about it. Like, this is what it's going to look like. This is how it's going to feel when I get the award. And so I'm going to lead you through this today, but it's an important part of goal setting. And it might not be something that you're used to, and it feels super uncomfortable at first, and it feels a little clunky and you don't know if you're doing it right. But it is the first step in achieving your goals, whether it's body goals, whether it's business, professional, family. We're going to go through all that. Daughters, the same way. This is Coach Alicia. For some of you that are a little bit newer here, same thing. You know, she's been really great at setting goals and vision boards, and she's achieved a lot for how young she is because she has really set those wheels in motion in terms of setting a goal and then reverse engineering, like, how am I going to get there? And we're going to share more about that in the end with a couple strategies that she has, and she's excited to share with you guys too. Okay, we have Coach Glitter, which a lot of you already know her story, but just for a quick refresh, she was at one point on the brink of about 300 pounds. And, you know, Coach Glitter is a go-getter. If you know her in the studio, she's got that, like, always bubbly, happy. We call her Positive Pollyanna. And I think a lot of that has attributed to her achieving her goals because she keeps a really positive mindset. And every time there's any kind of obstacle, because there is going to be obstacles on the way to your goals, Amanda's always like, it's fine. And like, she doesn't let that weigh her down and drag her down. She's just like, on to the next thing. And like, what do we got to do to get where I need to go? So with that being said, the 3 of us have, you know, achieved some really fun goals with fitness, life, money, all that fun stuff. And so we're going to dive into putting your wheels in motion to figure out what you want for your 5-year plan. Okay. So with this being said, let me minimize my screen so I can kind of see what's going on here. A good goal setting process is going to be very clear on where you are now, where you want to go, and all the stuff in between that needs to happen for you to get there. Okay, super important, because you can't just like say, oh, I want to make $1 million in 5 years. You have to know how you're going to get there, right? You can't just put that into the universe and it's going to manifest and happen. You have to have like milestones, goals, and things that you're going to achieve along the way to make sure you're on track for those things. You know, I like to say, because I've done this before with clients, and I like to say, you wouldn't just say like, oh, I want to go to New York and I'm just going to get in my car and I'm going to drive. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to turn on, you know, maps or Google Maps or Siri. I'm just going to, you know, hope for the best. You would need an action steps and action plan. Like, how long is it going to take? What highways do I need to take to get there? What hotels am I going to stay at? How many gas, you know, stops am I going to take? So very same concept into setting goals. And a lot of us just, you know, set a goal, but we don't know how we're going to get there. Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. First step, get your pen, get your paper, pencil, pen, whatever. And I want you to spend, I'm going to set a timer. And if you at any point are stuck, there's a chat box. You can send it privately to me or one of the other coaches. If you're like, hey, this is someone I'm stuck with, by all means, use that chat box. But for this first 5 minutes, I want you to make 3 lists, like people in your life who you feel gratitude towards. This is just to get some like anabolic energy into like the rest of the stuff we're going to do with our time together today. But start that list, people in your life who you feel very grateful for. Okay. Next list. And you can just write great gratitude list and then just brain dump all the people. Next page, achievements in your personal, professional, anything that's gone really, really well in the last 90 days. Now, this might take you some time. You might be like, oh, nothing. So you're really going to have to think on this if you feel like there isn't anything noteworthy. And I guarantee you'll find, you know, some things that come top of mind. And then the next list, events in the next 30 to 60 days that you're really looking forward to. So let's take about 5 minutes and let's do that. So I'm going to get your timer started here and give you guys some time to brain dump. We're about halfway through. Got about a minute left. How are we doing? Anybody need more time? Okay, 1 minute. But don't we love that sound? Is anyone else's alarm in the morning? Oh, okay. So, if you found that you got squirrely, like your brain was itchy, you know, when you like felt like you had it all out and you wanted to like check your phone, and you know, that's totally normal, FYI. So this, especially if you're not used to doing stuff like this, where you're like journaling and writing and taking like dedicated time to really have intentional thinking time. So it gets easier. Just know that like you're normal. Okay. How was that? Was it okay? Was that okay? We're moving on. Okay. Next step. Identify the situations that you feel you're thriving in currently. So now you've set up and identified who you're grateful for, your achievements, things that have brought you, you know, people who've brought you gratitude. And we're going to talk about things that are going well in your life. A lot of times we don't take the time to like sit down and go like, oh, I've achieved this. And I'm super guilty about that. You know, people be like, oh my God, you've done all these things, you know, you've come from this and that. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to think about that. I got to keep going, you know? So it's super important to reflect back and, you know, kind of honor those things and respect them and see the importance that they've brought to your life. So reflection, there's 3 here. You can choose to do all 3 of them, or just pick one. When do you like reflection 1? When do you feel the most like turned on, excited, and alive in your personal life or your professional life? Number 2, what is most important to you in your relationships, like your family, your partner, your circle of friends, your coworkers, and essentially just brain dump, you know, as much as you can in that aspect, in that reflection. And then the third one, what's most important to you in your work? What are the professional activities that light you up, give you energy, kind of fuel you, that you get excited to, it motivates you? So there's a few here. And again, maybe one really stands out to you, or like this is something you want to focus on, and you have a lot to just kind of get on paper, maybe that you haven't before. So pick one of these or pick all 3. We're going to take another 5 minutes. And just, it can be words, it can be sentences, however, you best sort of just get everything onto paper. And of course, you can open up that chat box if you need some help or you feel stuck. So let's have at it. 5 minutes is on the clock. Okay. That is a 5-minute brain dump there. So now that you have all this out on paper, you kind of teased out some details about a few different reflections. We're going to do what was always really challenging for me. So if you struggle with this piece, know that you're also not alone. Looking out 5 years is, it feels like, oh my gosh, that's so far. But the reality of it is it's really not. Think about how quickly the last 5 years have probably gone for you. So, thinking about like, man, time's just flying, and really, you're doing the work right now, you're here and capturing any kind of possibilities for achieving goals in the next 5 years. You're doing the work now. So bravo to you. So this next step, new page, this is really setting the vision. And the best way to do this, the best way that I describe this, is you have to write it in the present tense. And it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel silly, a little disorienting if you've never done this before. But on the, next piece of paper that you have, 5 years from now, from today's date, will be Saturday, January the 8th. So what you're going to do is you're going to reflect on your life and all the things that are going well based off of all of the stuff we've just been writing about, what you're forecasting from 5 years from now. And I'm going to give you some more things here in another slide. But on the top of this new page, you're going to write a story of a very specific day, 5 years in the future. Now, I tend to say that I lack imagination with imagining things and being super creative. But this has been incredibly helpful, just having this guide in this next slide that I'm going to share with you. And again, needs to be in the present tense. The first sentence says it's January 8th, 2028, and I wake up refreshed and excited about the day ahead. So as you go about your morning, it's a Saturday morning. What does that look like 5 years from now? What does your life look like? What does your fitness look like? What does your bank account look like? What is your relationship with your partner, your children? Where are you living? What does your home look like? What is a normal day in the life for you 5 years from now? And being very specific as you can. I'm sitting, on the beach in Mexico, whatever, be dreamy about it. It should scare you. It should scare the shit out of you. If I pull out the journal from when I wanted to manifest becoming an IFBB pro, I can't even tell you, it was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so embarrassing if somebody reads this, because who am I to think that I can do this thing? And I have all these stories about who I thought I was in order to be able to achieve these things. But the sooner you can release yourself from that unserving mindset, the sooner you can just start putting wheels in action and actually achieving what you want. Okay, so be specific, use quantitative numbers if you can, descriptions. So examples, things that you can write on, like I said, relationships, who are the most important people in your life? What behaviors have you done, practices to build on these positive relationships? If one of your goals is improving your relationship with your spouse or your partner, what have you done? What things have you done to create that? Fitness, obviously this is our expertise, and this is what, a lot of the focus is that you guys have come to us for. And I will give you, a cheat code in saying you're already there, right? You're doing the things by either you're at the studio as a client, you're working with one of us on your nutrition. And if you're working with us in Ditch, or you're one of our athletes, you will see on there behavior goals, these things that we set in your check-ins intentionally, because it's the behaviors and habits that are going to mold that positive outcome. If you have a fitness-based goal, actually any of these goals, there's going to be habits and behaviors that you have to put into motion in order for those things to change. They're not just going to change because you wrote them down on paper, right? Same thing, time. How are you spending your time? What does your day look like when you're forecasting 5 years from now? What does your week look like? What is your year? Are you taking vacations? Are you doing personal development things? What does that look like? finances, we'll talk about a little bit about this at the end, with, a fun little sheet that Alicia's using this year, but as an example, there's a ton of options for finance stuff. But what is your financial situation 5 years from now? What is your income? How much is in savings? How much do you give to charity? One thing I will say is the more granular, the more specific you can be, the easier it is going to be for you to reverse engineer that. So one thing is like, oh, I want to lose weight. Well, what does that mean? What is that? 10 pounds? Is that, 100 pounds? If it's finances, I want to make more money this year. Is that $5 more? Is that $100,000 more? The more specific you can be, like I said, the more your brain will start to work in that direction, and your habits will have to reflect that. Then we have work. What are you doing professionally 5 years from now? Are you going to want to be in the same job? Is this job slowly sucking the life out of you? Is there a career change you maybe want to make? Maybe there's a passion that you want to pursue. What is that going to look like if you want to achieve that in 5 years? What are the strategies that you're going to need to put in place for that to happen? Home, like I said earlier, where are you living? What are you loving about your living situation? What is your home atmosphere looking like? Things like that. Hobbies, leisure, how are you spending your free time? What activities are you passionate about? So these are some really good examples on topics to write on. So let's go ahead, pick one of these, pick two of these. We'll take another 5 minutes. What's most important for you? Maybe my piece of advice, but do as you please, is usually we're ruminating every day on the same things from the previous day, right? We have kind of like the same annoyances, the same kind of like nagging things going on. And it could be like work, spouse, personal, whatever is weighing heavily on you. This might be like the kick in the ass you need today to be like, fuck, I need to address that thing that I keep like ignoring. And in 5 years, like, am I going to still be complaining about that thing or stressing about that thing in my life? And let me tell you, like, it's better to address that sooner than 5 years from now. I'm going to be like, shit, another 5 years is gone. And like, I'm stuck in the same job and I hate my boss and I hate this career. And like, I could have been doing something about it. So that's my piece of advice to you. Don't pick the thing that's easy for you. Like, yeah, I can tackle this. Like, this fitness thing is going to be super simple. No, pick the shit that like you're avoiding. Okay, that's my lovingly boss bitch like kick in the ass for you. Okay, so let's do that for 5 minutes. And remember, like, this is for your eyes only. This is your brain dumping only, and it's just for you to get really real with your life. So 5 minutes. Have at it. Okay, 5 minutes has passed. And, we're just doing 5 minutes for the sake of time, but know that like, this might take longer. Some of this stuff might take some brain dumping for longer than 5 minutes, right? Especially if you haven't done this before and it's feeling a little challenging, to really get it all on paper. Okay, next page, get a new blank piece of paper out. There are so many emotions that I think I read somewhere it was like the average human or the average person can only name like 10 like positive emotions or something like that. I could be wrong with the number, but anyhow, there are so many emotions. So I picked this off of the internet just so you could really tease out some exciting and scary emotions that you want to feel 5 years from now that maybe you're not feeling now, or maybe you are feeling, but we want to like catapult those into bigger emotions. So think about that vision 5 years from now, how you wrote it out. It's supposed to feel scary. It should feel a little like a stretch goal. It shouldn't feel like something you can achieve this year. And just start brain dumping for 2 minutes is it. And just here's a list of some for a jumping off point. But if you have, your laptop handy or something, you can open up a different tab and maybe find some different emotions. But go ahead, take 2 minutes. One thing I used to do every year for about 3 years straight was the desire map. And I actually got certified in that, in teaching women how to really like lead their life with like how they want to feel. I think there's really great like prospect goals. Like I want to make this much money. I want to have this house and like the actual like materialistic piece of that. But how are you wanting to feel once you achieve those things? Super important. So look at these are just, a handful. And if anything sticks out to you, just start writing them down and put that on your list of feel good emotions on how you want to feel 5 years from now. And I think actually how you want to feel in the process to that, but most importantly, 5 years from now. My timer froze. I think that was 2 minutes. That felt like 2 minutes. How's everyone doing? We ready to move on? Thumbs up. Yeah. You got your feely good feelings ready to go. Okay. Next step. We have, this is where I call the rubber meets the road. Okay. This is all great to just be like, I want this, these grandiose things in the next 5 years. But with these things sitting on paper without you actually like doing the things that need to happen to get you there. It's just kind of like a dream, right? Without a plan. So think about what you're wanting to achieve based on this like big 5-year vision. We're going to talk about like, things to do in the next year as well. But what needs to happen in the next 3 to 12 months to move you towards that direction? You may have several goals on there. With our time together here right now, I want you to pick the scariest one that makes you like want to poop your pants a little. Or like, I don't know. That's like, I can't even believe I'm saying that thing, right? I want you to pick that one right now because it's holding you accountable to like teasing it out right now. The other ones, you can do once we get off and like, play around with. What skills are you going to need to develop? If you're wanting to become a professional ballerina in 5 years, like what are you going to need to do to make that happen? What classes are you going to need to take? Who are you going to need to reach out to? What is your lifestyle going to need to look like? Your time, like all the things, whatever that goal is, what skills are you going to need to develop? What habits, kind of along the same lines, in becoming this person that's having this amazing life, this amazing vision. 5 years from now, what habits do you need to have in place? If we'll just use mine for an example. To become an IFBB pro, I had to act like a pro. I needed to do the things that pros do and set my life in motion to reflect that. I couldn't be partying every night. I couldn't be, eating McDonald's every day. I couldn't be hitting the gym once a week. There's so many things that I had to change in order to develop those habits and eventually set the wheels in motion for that. Next, super important. What could you track weekly to make sure you're making progress towards that goal and holding yourself accountable to, okay, every week I got to make sure I'm checking in with myself and I'm doing the things I said I was going to do in order to set this goal up for long term, right? If yours is a monetary one, Alicia has a fun little sheet she's going to share at the end that has weekly targets for you to deposit into your savings account to make sure you're on track to hit a $10,000 savings goal by the end of the year. That's a super easy one, right? So what could you track weekly to make sure that you're headed that direction? And then the next scary one is what can you do this week that is going to move you into the direction of that 5-year vision? Who do you need to reach out to? What do you need to start Googling? What do you need to sign up for? If it's like, an education type goal, whatever that is, what is the one thing? So let's take a few minutes. We'll do 3 minutes for this one and have you tease those ideas out. And again, the chat box is there. If you feel stuck or you want to ask me anything, by all means, go for it. Okay, time is up. All right, moving on. We are rounding the corner, guys. We are almost done. Good job hanging in there. I know this is, your brain is probably on fire right now. Okay, next one. So thinking in terms of a year, what types of skills could you, or could you start to look into, or would you need to master to improve your odds at making it to that big 5-year vision? Okay. So like I said, for me, it was really hard to look at 5 years from now, but I had an easier time wrapping my head around 1 year from now. And so the things that you can do in 1 year and start chipping away will get you closer to that 5-year vision and give you more momentum towards getting there. So these are just a handful of ideas, but for one, so like communication skills, if you're wanting to improve your relationship with your spouse or like your partner, what are the communication skills you need to work on? Because that's usually one of the biggest reasons why relationships struggle is communication. What do you need to do to improve on that? Do you need to, maybe you need to look into working with a therapist by yourself, maybe together. Are there books you can read? And we're going to talk about some of those other things on the next slide too. But start thinking about what is the skill that you're going to need to this year that you can work on to achieve that big 5-year vision. Public speaking, I'm just going to give you little ideas. When I had put down in writing that I wanted to start a podcast, then I had it in writing. And for me, it's always like, if I say it out loud and I share it with somebody, like when I would want to compete or do things like that, it's like, oh shit, I'm a person of integrity. Integrity is like a big thing for me, and like doing what I say I'm going to do. And so even though like, you say, oh, I'm going to do a show, or I'm going to do this, and like, people aren't going to really like hound you, and they have their own life story about. For me, it was like, I didn't want to look like a person who didn't stick to their word. Same thing when I started my podcast. When I started my podcast, I wrote it down. I'm like, shit, I wrote it down to myself. That was important. And then I started putting the wheels in motion. I found a podcasting coach. Then I found a person that knew how to work with all of the hardware, all the things that were scary that I knew I didn't know how to figure out. I had to like outsource that and Google and research, and like, how do you come up with topics? Like I had to do all those things. So I had to put the wheels in motion. So these are some other, ideas. Fitness. I know this is one obviously that we're talking about often in the Venus world, but what skills do you need to get at to master to improve your physical fitness? Are you needing to, maybe you've been coming to the studio, this is by no means a pitch to work for nutrition, but maybe you've been coming to the studio for a while and, you're like, man, I know the next step is like, I really need, I love how strong I feel, but I need to really, I have a hard time, walking up the stairs. I'm winded, or I know my diet's garbage and trash. And like, I've tried these diets on my own and it's not working. Maybe you need to work with someone on your diet. Maybe you want to compete someday, like whatever your physical fitness goals, or maybe you just want to get stronger, what do you need to do? Who do you need to work with in order to make those things happen? So, once you figure that out, working on things like that daily, obviously super helpful, but, checking in with yourself every week and make sure that that's happening, is going to be more likely that you're going to achieve that 5-year vision. Okay. So just jot it down. We don't need to do a ton here, but maybe take a minute on, what are the skills, right? What are the skills you're going to need to master in order to achieve that big goal? One I thought of too, pizza making is on here. I just put a silly one in here. If you're like, pizza making, or like, maybe you're like, man, I would love to, like, my big dream is to someday I want to open up my own like coffee shop, right? Like that's such a big thing. What do you need to do? Maybe you need to take some roasting coffee classes. You need to maybe find somebody locally that owns a business and see if you can meet with them, have a meeting with them, like, hey, I'm really interested, what was your process? Finding people that have already done that is paramount if you have a huge goal that you want to achieve and you feel like you have no idea where to start. So we'll move on to the next slide, because it kind of has a little tie into this one too. Okay, so what are all the ways that you can improve your skill set? All right. Reading books, super huge. I can tell you this has been a huge piece of my process in achieving my goals. Reading books that are going to help you achieve those things. Very, very important. Maybe you're not a reader. Audiobooks, fantastic. Usually my recommendation, and I have another resource for you guys at the end of this, but my recommendation is if you find an audiobook that you really like and you enjoy it, but like I listen to like when I'm driving or I'm doing laundry or something like that, because I like to multitask. I always recommend getting the book as well. So that way you can like highlight it. I'm super old school. You know, I write notes in the books. I flag them with little sticky notes. You know, another thing, like I said, I've hired a coach literally for almost every important thing I've wanted to do in my life. You know, fitness, I've had multiple coaches, business, multiple coaches, podcast, you know, also too, a lot of it, which I know a lot of people don't think that this is an important piece of it, but working with a therapist, because a lot of times we have like these self-limiting beliefs that we can't get past because we've been born a certain way or raised a certain way, or like, you know, I had a lot of self-limiting beliefs early on because I was like a single welfare teenage mom. And I'm like, who am I to think I can like run a business and do a thing, right? And like therapy was a huge piece of that. Like, no, bitch, like do it. Okay. Like it's not that easy, but you know what I mean? Like teasing all that stuff out. What courses do you need to take? I've taken, you know, dozens of courses over the years, virtual stuff, super easy at your own pace, types of things. I take a lot of in-person weekend courses on things that I want to learn about. You know, I've taken Amanda and I've taken Alicia, and I'm trying to develop them as leaders. And so, you know, this is important too, that we all do those things. So whatever your thing is, I guarantee you, if you Google whatever you might have, like, I want to do underwater basket weaving, I'm sure there's a weekend course on that. Okay. So Google is your best friend when you're trying to figure out the action steps you need to take in order to achieve that goal. Like I said, finding peers that can help you, you know, the coffee shop example, somebody who's already been there, done that, who's already, you know, my coaches are always telling me like, don't reinvent the wheel. Like we've already done all the things in business. You know, they have like a whole portal and like resources for me. So finding someone who's already been there, has already made the mistakes, has already done the things, don't be afraid to ask for help. And then sharing your goals with people who you trust that are going to not only help you create the plan, but hold you accountable. That is the biggest thing for you to achieve that goal, is having somebody that is going to hold you accountable. Now, if you're working with us, you know, whether you're an athlete or you're a ditch deprivation client, dump that in there. You know, questions for your coach is one of the questions on there. You know, hey, I would love to know if you have any resources on, you know, I'm trying to get rid of some debt. You know, like we all three of us have our own skill sets, but like we also have resources outside of our own that we can like help you and like send you in the right direction if we can. So big takeaway is, if you can work on this skill set for a few hours a week, and you might be thinking like, I don't have any extra time. You'd be surprised, right? Like I guarantee if you go on your phone, look at how much time you're spending on social media, right? Like if you're spending an hour a day, 3 hours, you know, whatever like miscellaneous time you're spending, if you plan it out, you know, one of my other things was like, get a planner, put it on there, let it live on your calendar as a real appointment in time that you're working on these things. You'd be surprised at how closer you'll get to that goal with just chipping away at it little by little. You know, there's this saying like, I think it's like, how do you eat a frog, or how do you eat an elephant, which is gross and like kind of weird, but one bite at a time, right? How do you build a house? You know, one brick at a time. You have this big, hairy, scary goal, but you just need to chip away at it little by little. And before you know it, you'll get there. You don't want to waste 5 years and just be like, shit, I could have been working on this little bits at a time. Okay. Next one, any questions before, let me see. I have a chat box here. Oh, I missed that. Sorry, Joey. I know you sent me a message, but I'll get back to that one moment. Hold on, let me minimize. I'm still I'm still new at this Zoom thing. You would think I wasn't, but okay. Final thoughts. Again, being super clear about your 5-year plan. If you're like, yeah, this was fun, this is great, I like vision myself with this big, great life 5 years from now, doesn't mean you're going to get there. Okay, you might achieve little things here and there on the way there, but this is not a guarantee. That's one final thought. Repeating this process every 3 to 6 months, super important. I do have it on our calendar to repeat this again in April. So I will be hounding you guys. Okay, let's bust out your 5-year plan. Like keep these notes, and then we can revisit it. And I encourage you, even if you feel like you've done nothing, when we reconvene in 3 months, it'll be good, another good swift kick in your ass to be like, I need to quit wishing, I need to start doing. Okay. Because to the next point, the most important part is following up and taking action. So, got to do this regularly. It can't just be, willy-nilly. Amanda loves my old people sayings. It can't be willy-nilly. You have to be consistent with it. Same thing, like easy references fitness. You can't say I want to lose 10 pounds this month and like hit the gym once a week and like, maybe you eat according to your goals once a week. It has to be regular, it has to be consistent. So your community is us, right? So this is your form of accountability, reconvening here in April. Let's keep you on track to that. Granted, I'm in the health and fitness space, and a lot of people think like, oh, you're a personal trainer, you just like hand out diets and like tell people to exercise. For me, it's my vision is so much bigger than that, and it's to inspire women to take action so they can live their best lives and really like feel alive and excited and motivated about their lives. So this is part of it. You guys were part of that. So coming back in April and reconvening here. And if you feel, like I said, you can't carve out time for ongoing personal, professional development, maybe you're super busy, you got 2 jobs, whatever, you're a mom, all the things. I am going to link up in the chat box here, time management hacks. This is a great course that I've taken every year since I've been in business coaching, and sometimes I'll retake it mid-year when I feel very like scattered with my time, is some time management hacks. So I'm going to put that in the chat box here in a second. And then one thing we're going to talk about too is I'm going to let Alicia take the floor for a second, is creating something. Some people learn, like we all learn differently, right? Some are audio, some are visual, some are like more tactile. And Alicia just did a vision board, which is something that I've done. It's been years ago, vision board. And she also has like a little money tracker that she's using. And then another tip for me, and like Amanda can speak very highly of this as well, is get a damn planner. Okay. Even if you have, like Amanda's been using a planner for quite some time, but even if you have, a 9-to-5 job and you're like, what do I need a planner for? I'm stuck here from 9 to 5. The hours around that is where you can plug in the time to do. Yeah, she's showing you her planner is where you can put the time in to start chipping away at some of these goals. So let me, I think that was my last slide. Yeah. Let me stop sharing here, bring you guys back to the regular view. Sorry, I'm feeling a little disoriented with all these buttons. Okay, so Alicia, share with us your, and I'm going to find that link for the time management stuff. I'll plug it in the chat box, but I'm going to let you take the floor for a second, and maybe you want to show us your vision board. Maybe you don't.
Yeah.
You posted it on Instagram, so I was like holding it down. I was trying to read everything. So maybe would you feel comfortable walking us through it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I want to say thank you for this workshop. It was very inspiring and thought-provoking just to get all of this on paper.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would love to take full credit for it, but it was definitely, I've gone through it multiple times through my business coaches. And so, a lot of this is, handpicked directly from their stuff, but thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Okay, so my vision board. I've never made one and they always kind of intimidated me. But I always like to see what I'm kind of working towards. I have all of these Pinterest quotes in my brain, right? And I just kind of decided, you know what, this is something I want to make into a date night with me and my husband, and we're just gonna do this. So I have her right here. And I just went on Pinterest and I just started pinning things that were inspiring to me. Okay. So I have like my favorite athlete winning her pro card, right? Miss Rayon Fugal, and her again at the Olympia because she's very inspiring to me. And I love to see her. And then I want to save $10,000 this year. And I really wasn't sure how I was going to get there. More on that in a second, but I have a photo of like money and things. And then travel. I have pictures of the Azores where my family's from, and I want to go to Italy one day. So just all kinds of different things that I can look and be inspired by. And just looking at this makes me excited. It makes me just visualize the life that I want to create. Okay. And also different quotes like I'm creating the life of my dreams, just super positive things like that. And yeah, I put it in a spot that I frequent. So it's right here by my desk. I can look at it and just let it inspire me, but not overwhelm me. Because it's very easy to let those like your goals and such overwhelm you, right? But it's one thing to have it up, but I'm making a conscious effort to work towards the life that I want to live by putting in place habits and such to get me where I want to go. So one of my ones is I want to save $10,000. Now, most people are like night owls, right? And they have their best ideas at night. Well, I'm the opposite. I have my best ideas when I can't sleep at 4 a.m. So I thought to myself, I want to save $10,000. How am I going to get there? And I YouTubed it, found a 1-minute YouTube video, and I was like, what is this about? Well, someone way smarter than me made a tracker. Okay, it's a savings challenge that each week, so 52 bubbles, each week you set aside a certain amount. Now, it doesn't matter how much or what bubble you fill in, but at the end of the year, you're going to have $10,000 in your savings. So I just started off, and this week I put $200 away in my savings account, and I just figure like, this is the easiest way for me to do it because I love checking things off. Like I will make a list to check things off. So I paid $2.50, downloaded this. I even printed Coach Glitter one because she saw me printing one. She's like, print me one out too. Like, I got you. So that is my big, hairy, scary goal this year. And we're going to make it happen. So I'll put this link in the chat box. I will not email it to you. Okay, spend 250 of your pennies and just buy it yourself. But yeah.
All right, I love that. But to her point with that, when you have that as a goal, and this is a super easy one, right? And I also posted the time management tips and hacks PDF from my business coaches are in there, so you guys can check that out. There's some great apps that I use on there and some ideas, but for like that money saving sheet as an example, right? You might be thinking like, well, where am I going to find an extra $200? Trust me, when your brain is like, bitch, put $200 in on Fridays, you're going to make less frequent Starbucks runs. You're going to, you're going to find ways to, maybe you're not buying brand name detergent and fabric softeners, like random little things like that, and start putting stuff away. And the money one is a great one, and one that I love, and one that I don't want to say I'm insensitive to, but I have a hard time when people say like, well, I can't afford certain things, because when I tell you I literally came from like dirt poor, and I did not, like, it was not, nothing was handed to me. Like I had to fucking make shit out of thin air. Okay. Somebody gifted me the book from Dave Ramsey, and I had tax debt, divorce debts, like all these things. And I sat down, it was probably like a January thing, if I remember correctly. And I paid off almost $100,000 in debt. Yes, you heard that right. In a little over a year. And that was a phenomenal first step in like feeling financially free. And so since then I have like, aside from my fancy fun new car, but aside from that, like no financial debts. And it's been so super freeing to be like, I'm a single woman, I have a business, and I'm like debt free, and I like own a home, like all these things. And like that might, your vision of success is going to be your vision of success. But for me, that feels incredibly successful. So if you aren't good with money, quit telling yourself I'm not good with money, and like do the things you need to do to be good with money. Right. So Glitter, you want to give us, and sorry, that was just my soapbox speech, but Glitter, you want to give us some tips on your planning strategies or anything you want to add?
100%. So, I know like everybody, like what you said, is everybody's like, oh, I'm stuck at my job for 8 hours a day. Like, why do I need a planner? Honestly, that was probably the time when I needed it the most, because yes, I was sitting there, not able to honestly leave my desk. But that's when I started a planner. This is my 3rd year doing a planner, and this is the best way for me to kind of stay on track. Being able, so this one is one that you kind of like open up and you can see, like, this is an old one, but like there's a lot of stuff in there. Okay. So even if you are stuck at your desk for 8 hours a day, maybe you need to kind of like do something on your lunchtime, write that in there, write your workouts in there. Me and Mama D, we plan our weeks together, even if we are doing things together or separate, just because that's another way that we can keep each other accountable. When I look at my planner, like even my team knows Thursday was supposed to be my cardio day. Well, it didn't happen for me. So what did I do? I looked at that planner and I was like, okay, well, it didn't happen today, but I can make that up on Sunday. So if you guys see my Instagram, I was up early getting my cardio in to make up for the day that I missed. So being able to see your day at hand takes the stress away of all of these tabs that are open in your head that you're like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that. So I think the last thing I need to add on to my planner is my laundry. So other than that,
Yes, you are a mess, girlfriend.
I need help. I need help.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, even little things like that. Another thing is like setting out time to meal plan and meal prep. If you're ordering meal prep from Fit Kitchen, put that shit on Friday, because if you forget, you ain't gonna have the little fairy come to your door on Sunday. So it's important to make sure that you have all of these little things. They might seem super minute and like silly, but in order to kind of like really get to your goals and continue going, it's the silly little habits and the little goals and the little things that are going to get you there.
For sure. And to her point on the planners, I make a custom one. The last 3 years I've been making a custom one because I want it like to make sense for me, right? Because like I would always buy a planner. I'm like, I hate this. I don't need the tracking of my water. I already drink water. Like, I don't need all that stuff. I don't need like a fitness planner for myself personally, which can work very well for somebody else. Excuse me. But for me, like I have an area right here that says brain dump, right? Like I'll be in the kitchen, I'll be wherever. And like, sometimes I use so in the chat box, one of the app tools is called Captio. And it lives on the bottom tray of my phone because I have so many squirrely moments. Who can relate to feeling like at any given moment they have 1,000 sticky notes like flying around in their head? Yeah, right. Okay, like those need a place to live because you'll forget, like, oh shit, I need to schedule my dentist appointment, my dental cleaning, my car needs an oil change, like all those things. And so sometimes I don't have my planner handy. So I email myself that shit because my email inbox lives as like a to-do list. And I spend, a few times per day in there, like just chipping away at stuff. And so if you ever work with me or I see you and I'm like, hey, can you email me that? Because I'm not going to remember, I tell people that all the time. Can you email me? That makes sure it'll get done. It'll live there. But Captio is a great one for that. But having a place to like dump all your stuff and then you can put it where it needs to live in your planner. So yeah, thanks Coach Blair. So any questions? How are we feeling? Does your brain feel a little mushy. Anybody want to share? Does anybody want to share? Any brave souls want to put their goal out into the universe, and let me know, you know, let us know. Let us know what your goals are. Oh, yes. Okay, great one. Alexis says in the chat box, I remember hearing you talk about having clothes ready the day before. Do you do it each day for the day before, or have you set yourself up for the week? I have done both. I have done the whole week, set it out on my dresser. And you know, I always do the night before, like clockwork. It's just a habit. I started doing this with my kids when they were little. Like, it was just like, why wouldn't I do the same thing? You know, like, I'm an adult. I don't want to wake up frantic in the morning. Like, shit, I hate those underwear. Why don't I only have one sock? Like, you know, all that. So I always do it the night before. What I was finding, and you guys tell me if you feel this way, is I would plan out my whole week of workout clothes, right? Then I would spend the time to do that. And then I'd wake up and I'd be like, these pants are like, they're tighter and I'm a little bloated today. I'm like, I don't want to wear these pants, right? So generally the night before, you'll have a good idea of like what the morning is going to feel like for the most part, like how you're going to feel. So I just do it. I do it typically the night before. So it's, you know, it's pretty easy. It takes me 2 seconds. I literally have a routine. I do it while I'm brushing my teeth. So I'm doing 2 things at once. I brush my teeth and I pick out my clothes as I'm doing that, and to make sure that I brush my teeth long enough. Okay, it's not like a 30-second brush. And then I get my clothes out and ready for the next day. Okay, no questions. Okay, one more. I do my workout clothes and my work clothes. Perfect, even better. So if you train in the morning, you got your workout clothes ready and your work clothes. Also great if you train after work is get that shit ready and in a gym bag and like ready to go before you leave for work for the day. Definitely. Okay, no one wants to be brave enough and share their goals. The planner is Plum Planner. So Plum, I think Amanda uses a different one. I'm not sure what Alicia uses. I think Alicia, you just use like a notepad.
I use one from good old Office Max.
Perfect. Okay, Amanda's is Purple Trail. And they're fun. Like, you can customize the outside of it if you want to get super fancy with it. You know, I put my name on it like I was in grade school. And yeah, it's great. Okay, so last minute things before we part. We are, okay, the next, so if you want to write this down or put it in your calendar, the next Coffee with Coach we're going to do is going to be February 5th at 10. Topic to be determined. So stay tuned for that. We'll be doing that. Now, couple other things. I'm going to talk about some Venus things. So if you are not in the Venus like stratosphere as far as being in our town, you don't feel the need to have to stick around. But Glute Camp in February is up. So if that's something you've been interested in, it's up and available for registration. Another thing that's coming up at the studio on January 21st, which I believe is a Saturday. Are we still on for the body fat testing, sis?
That is actually going to be February 3rd, which is a Friday.
Okay. So we are doing a body fat test at the studio. February, you said 3rd?
Yes.
Okay, February 3rd. We'll have the link up for that. And basically it's a hydrostatic body tank. He comes in with a trailer, tub full of water, you dunk under, and it's one of the top ways to assess your body fat. So if you're curious and like you have fat loss goals on the radar, that might be something you want to do. And honestly, if you have muscle gain things on the radar for your goals, because that will also tell you how much muscle you have as well. So that's coming up. We have the Goddess Body Project, which is our 12-week transformation program at the studio starting January 3rd. I know there's already a handful of you on Zoom today that are already enrolled, but it is starting January 30th and it goes through April the 4th. My goal was 30 and we have 4 spots left. So if you're curious and you've been like, I don't know, make sure you message the studio phone or email me and I'll get to you to get you one of those spots saved. Real quick, it's essentially 36 sessions at the studio, 36 personal training sessions. and you will work one-on-one with either Amanda or Alicia every single week in a ditch deprivation format where you're checking in every single week, progress photos. You'll get meal plan or macros, whichever you prefer. They'll tell you how much cardio you should be doing. And I do always caution this is going to be a little bit of a more intensive program than just like signing up for ditch. So this is like being getting ready for a show without getting ready for a show, even if you never want to do a show, but you're like, I want to see what I could do in 12 weeks. Like I really want to push my body and see what I can do for 12 weeks. So I've been telling girls, I've actually turned some girls away because I told them if you have like a 7-day cruise you're going on, or like a 4-day like vacation or whatever, probably not the time to do it. We will be doing it again in April, but I just say you need this like 12 weeks to really focus all in on yourself. Okay. And then last but not least, I'm very excited about this. Okay. Because it's been a minute, but we are going to be doing a, in the name of Valentine's. Okay. We'll be doing a sensual movement, like class / workshop on, February the 11th. So I'm going to open it up to Venus members first. So you guys will hear about it, you know, through like the Facebook Messenger or at the studio for you to be able to enroll. And I don't anticipate I'll be needing to open it up to the public because we won't have very much room for that. Because obviously the studio is a lot smaller than it was when we had 10 poles and like no equipment. So, so that will be available for you. Super fun. If you guys have been in our world for long enough, you know that we started as a pole dance studio. And like Amanda and I have been dying to like just get in our like freak zone with our people. So it'll be fun. You know, we'll probably have some non-alcoholic champagne and alcoholic champagne for those that want to partake, and just be in a safe space to like have some fun. You know, you come in yoga pants, whatever you're comfortable moving in, and we'll dance. We'll teach you the whole thing. We go through the whole thing. It'll be super duper fun. Who has been around since the pole dance days? I know Alexis has. Yes, Amy has. Yeah, so they're like, everyone else is like, super fun. Okay, Joey, goals this year, WNBF Bikini Pro card, make 5K as a month as a personal trainer. Love that. Okay, so that's, see how very specific that goal is? That's what you want. Not like, I want to make more money and I want to do good at a show, right? It's like, I want to be a pro and I want to make 5K, right? Love that. Okay. All right. That was super fun. Any other questions? We did have some Q&As. What I was going to do is I was going to hang around for like another 10 minutes. So if you want to hang around and, you know, you have questions or you just, you know, want to, you know, throw some shit at me, go for it. There were some of you that submitted some questions through Zoom. Quick ones. One that was, how do you stop bad habits in your diet? Coach Glitter, how do we stop bad habits in our diet?
Well, you've got to kind of tell yourself no, set some fucking boundaries. Okay. Meal prep your food. That is the easiest way, you know, whether, I always say, you know, for myself, especially, is I know meal prepping can kind of be like so annoying, but more or less the best thing to do is I prep a few meals that are actually like weighed and measured, because that's probably more or less the most tedious thing. It's not cooking the food, because like you could be doing other stuff while the food is being cooked. It's weighing and measuring. So I weigh and measure probably, you know, at least enough meals for lunch and maybe a few more after that. And then the rest of it is kind of in bulk, because I know I'm going to be home. I'm going to be able to kind of like be able to measure as I go. But for those days that I know that I'm going to be busy, or like when I come home and I'm like on my way home and I'm like, oh, I could just stop in at Del Taco right now and get some tacos. I got to be like, no, you got food at home. Okay, go home, eat your food that's already prepped. And so that's the best thing too, is like when I come in, all I have to do is grab that container, throw it in the microwave, and then it keeps me off of being like trying to eat the pantry or stopping through drive-through.
I love that. Great tips. Okay. Another one was, and who's been sick lately? Cause like, I feel like it's just been a thing, right? Everyone's been getting sick. Whether it's like upper respiratory, you know, some kind of like sinus situation, the dreaded vid, like it's kind of like all been circulating again. But somebody had asked, trying to get back on track after illness or vacation. Literally, this is what sidelines a lot of people when they first start working out, because I hate to say like exercise like suppresses your immune system, but it's a form of like stress on the body, right? Like it's good stress, but it's still a form of stress on the body. So a lot of times you're more susceptible to like picking up germs and like getting sick, and especially if you know you don't have the strongest immune system. And so a lot of times it'll derail people and they'll just like quit altogether. I've seen it tons of times just working, you know, in fitness, and even for myself in the very beginning. So it really just is as simple as, and I hate when people give simple answers because it's not simple, but it is simple. You just get back to what you were doing. That's it. Like, don't let discourage you. Don't let it you know, derail you for very long. You just have to go, okay, I'm about like 90% better. I'm just gonna, you know, start slow. And yes, you're not gonna be as strong. Your cardio is probably gonna suck. You're gonna be sore. All that shit's gonna feel like starting over. But what's the alternative? You stop altogether and then you have to restart again January when everyone else does, right? So you just have to get back on the horse. Okay. Is it recording? I don't even know if it's recording. Okay. Okay, next one. Alicia, let's unmute you. Okay. Somebody asks, how do you overcome feeling discouraged when either you cheat on your diet or the scale isn't moving?
Okay, well, it is January 8th. I hope we're not cheating on our diets yet. But I think, the easiest answer here is don't cheat on your diet. But if you do, if you have a little something, if that Reese's is talking to you, like let it, what's happened has happened. Why are we going to dwell on it? Right? You're going to feel discouraged in that moment, but pick yourself up and like you can make the next meal even better, or what you put in your mouth, your next decision can make that situation like not dwell on, like don't let it dwell on you, you know. And when the scale isn't moving, like that's like basically talking to me, you know. The scale wasn't moving this week for me. I'm doing all kinds of cardio. You're dieting out of your mind. You're probably going to bed hungry, but you're like, oh, the scale's going to be like so light tomorrow. And it's not. What are you going to do? Are you going to give up? No, you just got to keep on going. You have to really just trust in the process, even when the scale isn't moving. And that's easier said than done, honestly. But just know, like, as long as you're checking your boxes day to day, something's going to happen. Something's going to move. So just keep going.
For sure. And that's really, you know, that's really all you can do. And I like to just give a loving, gentle reminder to the humans that are often discouraged is usually, you know, more specifically, if like you have like a fat loss or weight loss goal, right? Like if you've only been at it for 3 months, 6 months, how long did you develop the habits that got you there that weren't serving you? And like, this is a whole new lifestyle change. It's going to take some time for you to develop new habits and get used to it. And it's going to feel, you're going to feel like this, you're being cheated out of the system. I've been eating clean for 2 weeks, so I don't have a 6-pack. Right? Yeah, that's me and Amanda. What the hell? Why don't I have abs yet? You know, but we say it jokingly because it's like, it's funny, but it's because we hear that all the time, you know. So you have to know, like, I know that I've been, you know, essentially living my best life, eating and like, you know, traveling and doing all this stuff for 6 months. And, you know, it catches up really fast. So I can't expect that like getting back on track with all the things that are better for my health and fitness is going to like erase all that in 2 weeks. Right. Okay. What's that?
I have a quote that I wrote down probably 2 years ago, but an accumulation of bad habits over the years cannot be fixed in 12 weeks.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Cannot just fix everything in 12 weeks.
Exactly. And that's an even better point to make towards like even our 12-week transformation program. We're going to get you some great results in 12 weeks. But if, you're coming to us and you're like, I need to lose 60 pounds, don't expect that to happen in 12 weeks, right? Because like, how long did it take you to get to that point? So very good point. Okay. Last question. And then we're going to let y'all go on with your day. Somebody said, it's more of like, a statement / question. So many people get energized towards their goals by the new year. What advice do you have for maintaining momentum? Having somebody to keep you accountable. Having somebody, and you guys are all here, that's a huge piece of that, right? But having somebody to keep you accountable. Coaches have coaches. These 2 coaches have coaches. I'll probably have a coach till the end of time, until I decide I don't give a shit about anything. I'm like 80 and I'm one of those people that just doesn't care anymore, right? But you have to have somebody to hold you accountable, because how many of you have joined a gym at the beginning of the year and you go for like the first, little bit, and then you kind of just fall off? Like, I've done it time and time again. But it wasn't until like I had somebody who's meeting me at the gym, or I have a coach I have to check in with, or something that has driven me into that direction. Because let me tell you, I'm probably one of the least motivated people Okay, Amanda knows that. I'm one of the least, you guys may be shocked at that. How the fuck did I get a pro card? Because I'm one of the least motivated people. I don't wake up with my feet hit the ground. I'm like, yes, fuck yes, I want to eat like clean today. Like, no, it's just like, it just has to, it's for a greater purpose. So y'all are beautiful people. Thank you for hanging out with us today. I'm going to hang out for a few more minutes. So if you want to chit chat, by all means, hang around. If not, I'm sure I'll see you somewhere on the internet, at the studio, in my inbox somewhere. But I appreciate you for all spending time with us today, and we will see you soon. How are my people?
Oh, feeling super great. How are you?
Oh, good.
Good.
Is today your rest day?
Yeah, I'm in normal people clothes. Is that weird?
Yeah. I put a Venus shirt on so I could be part of I'm trying to be an employee these
Half
days.
normal. Do you have pants on?
Pajama pants on.
Oh, good. I have slippers on, so feeling super cash. How are my people? Alexis, do you have a bonnet on? I freaking love you, man. I should have worn mine. I got a leopard one. She's fancy, man. I feel so fancy in my leopard. My leopard bonnet. It's just so cute. I love it. So we fired up today. How's Anna? How can I help y'all? You just want to hang out with us ding dongs? Amanda doesn't have any clean laundry. Yeah, so she doesn't have pants to put on.
I do not. No. Well, actually, it's clean. It's just not folded. Y'all want to fold my laundry for me?
You need to outsource that already.
I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Kelly knows. So me and Kelly, we've named the laundry pile.
Oh boy.
His name is Mark.
Mark? Why is it Mark?
That Kelly called him Mark, and now his name is Mark. And then he also has a brother, Joe.
Is that the dirty laundry?
No, that's the second load that still hasn't been folded on top of the first load.
You crack me up. Oh my goodness. Well, at least you gave it a name. Hopefully Mark gets his active gear and puts himself away.
I doubt it.
Oh, how's Claire? How's Alexis? You guys are good? Alexis is getting ready to go to bed. You work nights, yeah? Yeah. That explains it. We're going to go to brunch here in a second. Healthy brunch. Ooh. Look at, is that Luna up there?
It is. She looks like a little doll.
She's so cute. Oh, love it.
That's where they hide for most of the day.
I love it. Oh, cozy. I would too.
Both of them are up there and they get like, I'm like, how you guys are so big?
Are they their brother, sister?
by adoption.
Okay.
Oh, they weren't from the same litter.
That's what they told us, and then we found out that they weren't.
How did you find that out?
Did you tell them?
Their papers are different.
Oh,
Yeah,
Young
they
love.
swindled us. It's fine.
It's all good. How's Claire? How's prep going?
Claire, you look so
Oh,
good.
Oh, thank you. You'll see my check-in. I had a snack accident Friday and Saturday.
Oh no.
It's okay, but I woke up later on Sunday. I don't know.
Who knew? Maybe you
don't
needed
make it a habit. Don't make it a habit because
Yeah.
you'd be like,
I know.
oh, I'm
I
good.
threw out the food. I threw it out. I was like, I'm not eating this anymore. I threw it out.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's something too. It's like, oh, I'm good. You know, look, I had a little snack accident and I lost weight. So you think you can do it again. Don't be doing it again because the next time it don't work.
Yes, exactly. It was like it was like your one genie wish, 1 out of
I
3.
did tell on myself though, so I reported
great.
it. It's in there.
That's
for my
great.
check-in today.
Super important. You know what's so funny is this whole time I was like, oh, that's a cute little office Claire's in, and I realized the time hasn't moved. And I'm like, oh, it's a virtual background.
It's a fake background.
That's
I
hilarious.
do meetings with realtors, so like I have a nice fancy background.
Yeah, I get that. That's too funny. All right, well, I think we're gonna head out unless you have anything pressing you want us to help you tease out besides your snack accident. She good? Okay. This was fun, you guys.
Thank
Have a-
you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Have a great Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.